Welcome back to Honey Vintage with Dusk. This is Lot 7, Part 3. What we're finishing up here is a estate sale auction that I picked up with shipping. It was like $130. There was two different lots in it. This big box here, which we've already gone through the first two rows, and 7-1, 7-2. The idea is we're going to go through these. I'm going to go through these last two rows. I'm going to do it off camera, because I can tell all of this is 83 tops and all of this is 85 Fleer, and I don't want to sit here and just go through these cards and piece together. It could be just 30-40 minutes of just nothing, and I don't want to put you guys through that here. So what I want to do is I'm going to finish up with the stack of 50 cards that were from 1960 to 1969. We'll see that being opened. I'll finish that up. I'll do this off camera, and then we'll come back and look to see what was actually found in here. You guys don't have to suffer if there's nothing in here, because it's not as fun to look through 80s, mid 80 cards when you're 74s that we did earlier, the 75s. I said I'd mention I'd open this up in the last video. These cards are about 50 cards from 1960 to 1969. When I purchased this lot, it was more on a whim. I didn't do my research into the cards themselves to see if it was actually worth the $22. But again, 50 cards for $22 from the 60s. It should be worth at least $1 a card, you would think. Let's see, Dick Dietz. Plus these are decent. Felipe Alou, there you go. Bart Shirley, they're in decent shape. They're not bad for being as old as they are. Ron Webster. Now I'm going a little bit slower in case I find somebody that's really. Dave Marshall. These are 69s that I'm going through right now. Look at that card. Too bad it wasn't like a star player. It's really nice centered. Little dinged up corners. Del Usher. This is a 68. Manny Mota and Mike Harshenberg. Dick Nin. That's a 67. 67, Jimmy Hall, Joe Sparma, John Boozer, Ken Henderson, Jack Cullen, and then 65, Gary Geiger, Jim Purcell, 64, Jim Bunning, who's a Hall of Famer, Jim Pagliaroni, George Banks, that's a 63, Claude Austin, Jerry Lynch, 63, 62, Charlie Neal, 62, Gino Somali, 61, Al Sacote, 61, Purcell, 61, Jim O'Toole, 61, Jim Catt. I believe that's his second year. I think 1960 was his rookie year. 1961, Don Zimmer, putting on a little weight from his earlier years that he is. Johnny Temple, and a 1960 Fred Kipp. Again, I paid $22 for this group of cards that we just went through. I'll go through this off camera, and then I'll come back and do a recap. After Scooby doing this and going over everything in the 4,000 count box, a quick recap of what was in the rest of this box. A bunch of 85 Fleer, pretty much Hall of Famers. There's a half dozen Howard Johnsons in here. Steve Carlton, Raleigh Fingers, Carlton Fisk, Jack Morris. Yeah, so as I said, a half dozen Howard Johnsons in here. Dusty Baker's more, Ted Simmons. So a bunch of Hall of Famers and some minor stars from the time. There was some more minor leagues. These are rookies from the 85 Donruss. I don't know if they're worth anything. Haven't looked it up yet. Dusty Baker. And then again, the 83 tops. Fergie Jenkins, Bruce Sutter, Paul Molitor, Raleigh Fingers, Frank Robinson. So again, more Hall of Famers. Phil Necro, Raleigh Fingers, 82, Fernando Valenzuela, second year card. It might be worth $1 or so. Andre Dawson, another 82 Raleigh Fingers. Joe Necro, 81. Some 81 tops Rosso in that section. But there were some interesting cards in here that I found. Unfortunately, they're pretty beat up. Probably not worth the paper they're printed on anymore. But the 1961 Norm Cash, 1961 Art Dittmer post serial cards. They cut Art Dittmer stuff off, and then as you can see, the Norm Cash has been is missing paper. Beyond that, the only other thing of interest was a stack of 1984 OPC cards. I'm sure in case somebody's trying to put a set together or whatnot, our OPC is kind of hard to find, but there are some star players and minor star players in here. You got Ted Simmons, Scooch Gossage, Tommy John. So there was a Charlie Huff. There's a few star players here, but not a lot. So I'm really glad I decided to do the Scooby-Doo ending, or the Super Scooby-Doo ending, and going through the box rather than trying to do 40 minutes of going through those two rows. As my community post says, the next lot I want to go through is a Shop Goodwill lot that I purchased. It has 216 packs of unopened baseball cards in it from the late 80s. So take a look at that. Hopefully they're actually sealed. And then there's a 4,000 count box in there as well. There might be $20, $40 worth of cards in this section, but when you're dealing with age of the cards and going after vintage, anything prior to 1986, essentially, there's always a premium on it when you're dealing in auctions for those cards. But otherwise than that, thanks for watching. Happy hunting.